One of the most important truths you will ever learn is that your kindness does more than help people. It reveals people. Many individuals believe that being kind guarantees acceptance, appreciation, and loyalty. They assume that if they treat others with respect, everyone will respond with gratitude. While kindness certainly creates opportunities for healthy relationships, it also has an unexpected effect. It exposes the true condition of the hearts and minds of the people around you. Think about this carefully. When you encounter someone who is genuinely kind, patient, and respectful, your response often reflects your own character. People who possess gratitude tend to appreciate kindness. People who value growth tend to learn from it. People who have healthy self-esteem tend to celebrate it. But those who carry bitterness, insecurity, jealousy, or resentment may react very differently. Your kindness becomes a mirror. A mirror does not create what it reflects. It simply reveals what is already there. When you consistently show compassion, some people become inspired because they recognize qualities they want to develop within themselves. Others become uncomfortable because your behavior highlights areas of weakness they would rather ignore. This is why two people can observe the same act of kindness and respond in completely different ways. One person says, "That is admirable." Another says, "They must have an ulterior motive." The difference is not in your actions. The difference is in the condition of the observer. Many people spend their lives trying to manage how others perceive them. They exhaust themselves attempting to earn universal approval. Yet no matter how good your intentions are, people will interpret your actions through the lens of their own experiences, beliefs, fears, and insecurities. A person who has been betrayed repeatedly may become suspicious of kindness. They may question your motives because trust has been damaged in their past. A person who struggles with self-worth may resent your confidence because it reminds them of what they believe they lack. A person who lives with constant negativity may become irritated by your optimism because your attitude challenges the worldview they have chosen to embrace. This is why you must stop assuming that every negative reaction is proof that you have done something wrong. Sometimes people react negatively because your presence exposes something they have been avoiding. Your discipline exposes excuses. Your honesty exposes deception. Your courage exposes fear. Your peace exposes chaos. Your kindness exposes bitterness. Without speaking a single word, your life can become a silent challenge to the attitudes and habits of others. This is one reason why genuinely kind people are often misunderstood. Their behavior unintentionally confronts the emotional struggles that others are carrying. The confrontation is not verbal, it is not aggressive. It is simply the result of contrast. Imagine a room that has been dark for years. The moment light enters, the darkness is revealed. The light is not attacking the darkness, it is merely existing, yet its presence changes everything. The same principle applies to your character. When you walk into an environment filled with gossip and choose not to participate, your silence reveals the immaturity of the conversation. When you enter a culture of dishonesty and choose integrity, your honesty highlights what others are trying to hide. When everyone expects conflict and you respond with wisdom, your response exposes the lack of emotional control around you. People often become uncomfortable when they are confronted with evidence that a better way exists. The challenge is that many individuals do not respond to discomfort by growing. Instead, they respond by criticizing the source of their discomfort. Rather than asking, "What can I learn from this person?" they ask, "How can I find something wrong with this person?" Rather than improving themselves, they attempt to diminish you. Rather than embracing change, they resist it. This is why some of the most generous, thoughtful, and compassionate individuals face unexpected opposition. Their kindness reveals truths that others are not ready to face. But here is what you must understand. Your responsibility is not to manage everyone else's reaction. Your responsibility is to remain faithful to your values. Do not allow someone's bitterness to convince you that kindness is pointless. Do not allow someone's jealousy to make you ashamed of your growth. Do not allow someone's criticism to weaken your commitment to excellence. The fact that your character exposes the attitudes of others is not a problem. It is evidence that character has power. People may misunderstand your intentions. They may question your motives. They may criticize your actions. They may even dislike you for reasons that have nothing to do with you. But never forget this principle. When your kindness reveals the character of others, their reaction belongs to them, not to you. Your task is to continue developing integrity, wisdom, patience, and purpose. Let your life remain a source of light, even when some people prefer darkness. Let your character remain strong, even when others resist it. Because in the end, the greatest influence is not found in forcing people to change. It is found in becoming such a powerful example that your life quietly reveals what is possible. One of the most difficult realities to accept is that not everyone benefits from your growth. Many people assume that personal development automatically creates stronger relationships, greater respect, and deeper connections. While growth certainly attracts new opportunities, it also reveals the true nature of the relationships around you. The moment you begin improving your life, you start discovering who was celebrating your potential and who was only comfortable with your limitations. Human beings often create unspoken expectations about one another. Some people become accustomed to a certain version of you. They become comfortable with your doubts, your struggles, your lack of confidence, or your dependence on them. As long as you remain in that position, the relationship feels safe to them because nothing is changing. They understand the role you play in their lives and they have adjusted to it. But growth changes everything. The moment you begin thinking differently, speaking differently, and carrying yourself with greater confidence, you disrupt the expectations people have built around you. Suddenly, the person they thought they understood is evolving. The person they expected to remain the same is becoming stronger. The person they assumed would always seek permission is now making decisions independently. This can create discomfort in people who benefited from your old identity. Many individuals claim they want you to succeed, but what they truly mean is that they want you to succeed without surpassing their comfort level. They applaud your progress until that progress requires them to examine their own lack of progress. They celebrate your improvement until your improvement highlights areas of their lives they have neglected. This is why growth often exposes hidden insecurities. When you begin exercising discipline, those who lack discipline may feel challenged. When you start managing your emotions wisely, those who thrive on drama may feel threatened. When you pursue purpose, those who have settled for mediocrity may feel uncomfortable. Not because you have attacked them, but because your actions silently ask questions they do not want to answer. Your life becomes evidence that change is possible, and evidence can be difficult to ignore. The truth is that growth creates distance, not necessarily physical distance, but mental and emotional distance. Conversations that once entertained you may no longer interest you. Habits that once consumed your time may no longer appeal to you. Environments that once felt normal may now feel restrictive. As you evolve, your priorities change. As your priorities change, your decisions change. As your decisions change, your relationships are tested. Some people will grow alongside you. They will be inspired by your journey. They will celebrate your victories and encourage your development. These are individuals who value your destiny more than their comfort. They understand that true friendship is not about keeping someone small. It is about helping them become everything they were designed to be. However, others may respond differently. Some may become distant. Some may become critical. Some may begin finding fault with things they once ignored. Others may attempt to discourage your progress through subtle comments, sarcasm, or negativity. What you must understand is that these reactions often reveal more about their internal struggles than about your actions. People who are secure in themselves are not threatened by another person's growth. They recognize that someone else's success does not diminish their own value. Secure individuals understand that life is not a competition. They can celebrate another person's advancement without feeling left behind. Insecure individuals, however, often interpret your growth as a personal loss. They compare your achievements to their lack of achievement. They measure your discipline against their inconsistency. They compare your courage with their fear. Instead of allowing your progress to inspire them, they allow it to frustrate them. This is why you must never apologize for becoming better. Do not apologize for gaining wisdom. Do not apologize for setting boundaries. Do not apologize for developing confidence. Do not apologize for pursuing excellence. The world benefits when people maximize their potential. Your responsibility is not to remain small so others can feel comfortable. Your responsibility is to become the best version of yourself so that your life can have the greatest possible impact. Remember that a tree cannot continue growing without eventually stretching beyond the shadow of the seed from which it came. Growth is evidence of life. Expansion is evidence of purpose. Progress is evidence that you are moving forward. There will always be people who prefer the older version of you because that version required less from them. That version did not challenge them. That version did not force them to reconsider their choices. But you cannot build your future by remaining trapped in someone else's expectations. You were not created to stay where you started. You were not designed to spend your life protecting other people's comfort zones. You were given gifts, talents, abilities, and potential for a reason. So continue growing, even when growth makes others uncomfortable. Continue learning, even when others choose stagnation. Continue advancing, even when others criticize your ambition, because the people who truly care about you will not fear your growth. They will celebrate it. They will recognize that your success does not take anything away from them. Instead, it proves what is possible when a person commits to becoming all they were meant to be. And that is a lesson the world desperately needs to see. One of the most powerful truths you can learn about human behavior is that insecurity often disguises itself as resentment. Many people assume that hatred always comes from something they have done wrong. They think that if someone dislikes them, criticizes them, or tries to pull them down, there must be a mistake they made somewhere along the way. But in many cases, the real issue has nothing to do with your actions. It has everything to do with how your presence makes another person feel about themselves. When a person lacks confidence in who they are, they become highly sensitive to the success, character, and growth of others. They begin comparing themselves to everyone around them. Instead of measuring their progress against their own potential, they measure it against the achievements of other people. This creates a dangerous cycle because comparison rarely produces gratitude. More often, it produces frustration, envy, and self-doubt. Imagine someone who has spent years talking about their dreams but has never taken action. Then they watch you begin pursuing your goals with discipline and determination. Every step you take toward your future becomes a reminder of the steps they refuse to take. Your progress unintentionally exposes their procrastination. Your courage highlights their fear. Your commitment reveals their inconsistency. Notice that you did nothing to attack them. You never criticized them. You never pointed out their shortcomings. Yet they still feel uncomfortable around you because your life reflects possibilities they have chosen to ignore. This is one reason kind people are often disliked. Kindness combined with growth is a powerful force. People can tolerate your kindness as long as you remain on the same level they are. But when your kindness is accompanied by excellence, wisdom, and progress, it begins to challenge the narratives they have created about themselves. Insecure individuals often seek comfort in excuses. They tell themselves that successful people are lucky. They convince themselves that disciplined people have advantages they do not possess. They explain away the achievements of others because accepting the truth would require them to take responsibility for their own lives. Then they meet someone who is genuinely kind, respectful, and hardworking. Suddenly, their excuses begin to collapse. They cannot easily label you as selfish. They cannot honestly call you dishonest. They cannot blame your success on arrogance. And because they cannot attack your character, they become frustrated by your example. This frustration often transforms into resentment. The tragedy is that many insecure people do not even realize what is happening inside them. They interpret their discomfort as dislike for you when the real battle is taking place within themselves. They see your confidence and call it pride. They see your boundaries and call them arrogance. They see your ambition and call it selfishness. In reality, they are projecting their own internal struggles onto you. This is why you must never allow someone else's resentment to determine your self-worth. A person who is insecure will often criticize qualities they secretly admire. They may mock your discipline because they wish they possessed it. They may question your confidence because they lack confidence themselves. They may attack your vision because they abandoned their own dreams long ago. Understanding this principle changes the way you respond to criticism. Instead of immediately assuming every negative reaction is accurate, you begin asking deeper questions. You recognize that not every opinion is rooted in truth. Not every accusation reflects reality. Sometimes people speak from their wounds rather than their wisdom. This does not mean you should ignore all feedback. Wise people remain teachable. Wise people listen, learn, and grow. But they also understand the difference between constructive correction and insecurity disguised as criticism. One seeks to help you improve. The other seeks to make you smaller, and you must learn to recognize the difference. There is another important lesson here. Never become angry at insecure people. Pity the condition, but do not adopt the behavior. The moment you allow resentment to enter your own heart, you become what you once struggled against. Your responsibility is not to carry their insecurity. Your responsibility is to continue developing your gifts, your character, and your purpose. Keep growing even when others are uncomfortable with your growth. Keep learning even when others mock your pursuit of knowledge. Keep succeeding even when others question your motives. Keep showing kindness even when kindness is misunderstood. Remember, a secure person celebrates the success of others because they are confident in their own value. They understand that another person's achievement does not diminish their own potential. They know that life is not a competition for limited significance. There is room for everyone to fulfill their purpose. But insecure people see every accomplishment as a threat. They believe your victory somehow becomes their loss. As a result, they fight battles that never needed to exist. Do not join those battles. Stay focused on your assignment. Stay committed to your principles. Stay faithful to your purpose. Because the greatest response to insecurity is not argument, it is growth. The greatest answer to resentment is not revenge, it is continued excellence. And the greatest proof of your value is not convincing people to like you. It is becoming everything you were created to be, regardless of who applauds and regardless of who disapproves. One of the most overlooked reasons people may dislike you, even when you have done nothing wrong, is that your standards challenge the level of comfort they have chosen for themselves. Human beings naturally compare their actions, habits, and results with those around them. This means that your commitment to excellence can become uncomfortable for individuals who have settled into mediocrity. Not because you are criticizing them, not because you are attacking them, and not because you are trying to prove that you are better than they are, but simply because your life becomes evidence that greater possibilities exist. Many people say they want success, growth, and achievement. They speak about their dreams with excitement. They discuss their goals with passion. They talk about becoming better, doing more, and reaching higher levels in life. But there is a significant difference between admiring excellence and pursuing it. Excellence requires sacrifice. It demands discipline when distractions are calling. It requires consistency when motivation disappears. It requires responsibility when excuses seem easier. While many people admire the results of greatness, far fewer are willing to embrace the process that produces it. When you choose to operate at a higher standard, your behavior begins to communicate a message without words. You arrive prepared. You keep your commitments. You respect your time. You continue learning. You maintain your integrity even when dishonesty would be more convenient. You remain focused when others are distracted. You keep moving forward when others are waiting for perfect conditions. The interesting thing is that standards have a way of exposing excuses. A person who constantly complains about their circumstances may feel uncomfortable around someone who is making progress despite difficulties. A person who blames everyone else for their failures may become irritated by someone who takes responsibility for their choices. A person who continually postpones action may feel challenged by someone who consistently follows through. Your life starts asking questions that some people do not want to answer. Without speaking a single word, your discipline asks, "Why are you not disciplined?" Your preparation asks, why are you not prepared? Your commitment asks, why do you keep quitting? Your growth asks, what are you doing with your potential? These are powerful questions because they force people to look inward. Unfortunately, not everyone enjoys self-examination. Many individuals would rather protect their comfort than confront their limitations. This is why some people respond negatively to those who maintain high standards. Instead of allowing your example to inspire them, they allow it to threaten them. Instead of learning from your habits, they criticize them. Instead of improving themselves, they search for flaws in you. Have you ever noticed how people sometimes call disciplined individuals obsessed? Have you noticed how focused people are sometimes labeled too serious? Have you noticed how responsible people are occasionally described as trying too hard? These labels often reveal more about the speaker than the person being criticized. What appears to be criticism is sometimes an attempt to reduce the discomfort created by comparison. If someone can convince themselves that your commitment is unnecessary, then they no longer feel pressure to improve their own performance. This is one of the reasons average thinking often attacks excellence. Excellence raises the standard. Excellence proves that more is possible. Excellence removes excuses. And whenever excuses are threatened, resistance often follows. You must be careful not to lower your standards simply to make others comfortable. Many talented people have sabotaged their own growth because they wanted acceptance more than progress. They stopped pursuing excellence because they feared criticism. They hid their abilities because they worried about standing out. They reduced their ambitions because they did not want to make others uncomfortable. But consider the cost of that decision. If you reduce your potential to gain approval, you may receive temporary acceptance, but you will lose something far more valuable. You will lose the opportunity to become who you were created to be. The world does not benefit when gifted people hide their gifts. Communities do not improve when capable individuals suppress their potential. Organizations do not grow when leaders refuse to lead. Families do not prosper when responsible people abandon responsibility. Your standards are not merely about personal achievement. They are about stewardship. They are about maximizing the abilities, opportunities, and resources entrusted to you. The truth is that every great advancement in history began with someone refusing to accept the ordinary. Every innovation, every breakthrough, every achievement started because someone believed that higher standards were possible. Therefore, do not be discouraged when your commitment to excellence attracts criticism. Understand what is happening. Your standards are creating contrast. Your dedication is exposing complacency. Your growth is revealing possibilities that others may not yet be willing to pursue. Remain humble, but do not become small. Remain kind, but do not compromise your values. Remain respectful, but do not lower your standards. Continue learning when others stop learning. Continue growing when others stop growing. Continue improving when others stop improving. Because your responsibility is not to make mediocrity comfortable. Your responsibility is to develop your potential, fulfill your purpose, and become the very best version of yourself. And when you do that consistently, your life becomes proof that excellence is not reserved for a special few. It is available to anyone willing to embrace the discipline, responsibility, and commitment required to achieve it. One of the most misunderstood realities in human relationships is that kindness is often mistaken for weakness. Many people assume that if you are gentle, patient, forgiving, and respectful, then you must lack strength. They believe that a person who does not constantly argue, threaten, or dominate others is somehow incapable of standing their ground. This misunderstanding has caused countless individuals to question their own character. They begin to wonder whether being kind is a disadvantage in a world that seems to reward aggression. But the truth is exactly the opposite. Real kindness is not weakness. Real kindness is strength under control. Anyone can lose their temper. Anyone can react emotionally. Anyone can insult someone who insults them first. It takes very little character to be controlled by your emotions. The difficult task is maintaining self-control when every part of you wants to react. The difficult task is choosing wisdom when anger appears easier. The difficult task is remaining focused on your purpose when distractions are pulling you in every direction. The strongest people are not those who can overpower others. The strongest people are those who have learned to master themselves. Think about it carefully. A person who cannot control their emotions becomes a prisoner of their emotions. A person who cannot control their words becomes a prisoner of their words. A person who cannot control their actions becomes a prisoner of their actions. Strength is not measured by how much power you have over others. Strength is measured by how much power you have over yourself. Unfortunately, many people do not understand this principle. They see someone who is kind and assume they are weak. They see someone who avoids unnecessary conflict and assume they are afraid. They see someone who chooses peace and assume they are incapable of defending themselves. What they fail to recognize is that there is a significant difference between being peaceful and being powerless. A peaceful person has the ability to fight but chooses wisdom. A powerless person has no choice. These are not the same thing. The individual who remains calm during conflict is often far stronger than the individual who constantly seeks conflict. The person who speaks carefully is often far more confident than the person who speaks loudly. The person who forgives is often carrying greater emotional strength than the person who refuses to let go of resentment. When people mistake your kindness for weakness, they may attempt to take advantage of you. They may test your boundaries. They may assume you will tolerate disrespect forever. They may believe your patience is unlimited and your tolerance has no limits. This is where many kind people make a serious mistake. They think kindness requires them to accept mistreatment. It does not. Kindness does not mean becoming a doormat. Kindness does not mean allowing people to manipulate you. Kindness does not mean sacrificing your dignity so others can remain comfortable. In fact, true kindness includes the courage to establish healthy boundaries. A boundary is not an act of hostility. A boundary is an act of wisdom. When you refuse to tolerate disrespect, you are not being cruel. You are teaching people how to treat you. When you say no to manipulation, you are not being selfish. You are protecting your purpose. When you walk away from toxic behavior, you are not acting in anger. You are acting in maturity. Many people believe that strength and kindness cannot exist together, but the greatest leaders throughout history demonstrated both qualities simultaneously. They possessed compassion, yet they also possessed conviction. They cared deeply about people, yet they refused to compromise their principles. They served others, but they never surrendered their identity. This balance is what makes kindness powerful. Without strength, kindness becomes vulnerability. Without kindness, strength becomes tyranny. But when strength and kindness work together, they create influence. You must understand that not everyone deserves unlimited access to your life simply because you are a good person. Your kindness should be available to everyone, but your trust should be earned. Your respect should be given freely, but your inner circle should be chosen carefully. A wise person knows how to love people without allowing people to control them. The problem is that some individuals become uncomfortable when they discover that your kindness is supported by strength. They expected you to remain silent forever. They expected you to accept every insult. They expected you to tolerate every violation of your boundaries. Then one day they discover something surprising. You are kind, but you are not weak. You are patient, but you are not passive. You are loving, but you are not controllable. You are respectful, but you also respect yourself. And suddenly their perception changes. Why? Because genuine strength does not need to announce itself. It reveals itself through consistent action. It reveals itself through confidence. It reveals itself through self-respect. The lion never needs to remind the forest that it is powerful. Its presence speaks for itself. In the same way, your character should speak louder than your words. Let your kindness remain intact, but never confuse kindness with surrender. Let your heart remain compassionate, but never abandon your standards. Let your spirit remain generous, but never permit others to exploit your generosity. The world may occasionally misunderstand your kindness. Some people may even try to use it against you, but never allow their misunderstanding to change who you are. Continue being kind. Continue being respectful. Continue being compassionate. Just make sure your kindness is backed by courage, your compassion is backed by wisdom, and your generosity is backed by healthy boundaries. Because the strongest person in the room is often not the loudest person. The strongest person is the one who has mastered themselves, knows their worth, protects their purpose, and remains kind even when the world gives them every reason not to be. One of the most difficult truths to accept in life is that envy can exist even when you have done absolutely nothing wrong. Many people believe that if they treat others fairly, remain humble, and avoid conflict, they will be free from jealousy and resentment. However, human nature does not always work that way. Sometimes people become uncomfortable simply because of what they see in you, not because you have harmed them, insulted them, or competed against them, but because your life reminds them of possibilities they have not pursued, potential they have not developed, or courage they have not embraced. Envy is rarely about possessions alone. Most people assume jealousy begins when someone acquires money, status, or influence. While those things can certainly attract attention, envy often reaches much deeper than material success. A person may envy your peace of mind. They may envy your confidence. They may envy the way you carry yourself through difficult situations. They may envy your ability to recover from setbacks while they remain trapped by disappointments from years ago. Think about this carefully. Two people can experience the same hardship. One person chooses growth while the other chooses bitterness. Years later, the individual who embraced growth begins to thrive. Their success is not merely financial, it is emotional, mental, and spiritual. They have learned discipline, they have developed wisdom, they have become resilient. When others observe this transformation, they are confronted with a choice. They can become inspired and learn from it, or they can become resentful because it highlights their own unwillingness to change. Unfortunately, many choose resentment. This is why some people become hostile toward individuals who are genuinely kind. Kindness combined with strength is a powerful force. It destroys the excuses that people often use to justify their own negativity. When someone sees a person who has endured pain yet remains compassionate, they can no longer claim that suffering automatically creates bitterness. When they see someone who has faced rejection yet continues moving forward, they can no longer use rejection as an excuse for giving up. Your life becomes evidence that growth is possible, and evidence can be threatening to those who are committed to excuses. What makes envy particularly dangerous is that it rarely introduces itself honestly. Very few people will ever come to you and say, "I am struggling because I wish I had what you have." Instead, envy disguises itself. It often appears in the form of criticism. It hides behind sarcasm. It speaks through gossip. It minimizes accomplishments. It questions motives. It searches endlessly for flaws. Notice how some people become uncomfortable whenever something positive happens in your life. They may congratulate you publicly while secretly hoping for your failure. They may smile in your presence while criticizing you behind your back. This contradiction exists because envy creates internal conflict. The envious person recognizes something admirable about you, yet instead of learning from it, they resist it. The problem is not your success. The problem is what your success represents. Your progress reminds them of goals they abandoned. Your discipline reminds them of habits they refuse to develop. Your confidence reminds them of fears they never conquered. Your persistence reminds them of dreams they stopped pursuing. As a result, they direct their frustration toward you rather than addressing the real issue within themselves. This is why wise individuals learn not to take every criticism personally. Not every negative opinion is based on truth. Sometimes criticism reveals more about the speaker than the person being criticized. That does not mean you should ignore constructive feedback. Genuine feedback helps you improve. But there is a difference between correction and resentment. Correction seeks growth. Resentment seeks destruction. The challenge is maintaining your character when faced with envy. Many people become discouraged when they realize that kindness does not protect them from criticism. They begin to wonder whether being good is even worth the effort. Yet this is precisely the moment when character matters most. Your response to envy reveals your maturity. Anyone can remain kind when receiving praise. Anyone can remain positive when everyone supports them. The true test comes when people misunderstand your intentions, question your motives, or resent your progress. Will you allow their negativity to change who you are? Will you allow their jealousy to make you bitter? The strongest individuals refuse to surrender their character to the opinions of others. They understand that envy is often an unavoidable companion of growth. The higher you climb, the more visible you become. The more visible you become, the more opinions you attract. Some of those opinions will be supportive. Others will be critical. But neither should control your identity. Continue developing your gifts. Continue improving your skills. Continue serving others with sincerity. Continue walking in purpose. Because your responsibility is not to manage everyone else's emotions. Your responsibility is to become the best version of yourself. If others choose inspiration, welcome them. If others choose resentment, do not allow it to distract you. Remember this principle. People may envy your success, but they often overlook the sacrifices that created it. They admire the results while ignoring the discipline. They notice the victory while forgetting the struggle. They see the confidence while remaining unaware of the battles you fought to develop it. Therefore, never apologize for becoming who you were meant to be. Never shrink your light to make others comfortable. Never reduce your potential because someone else feels threatened by it. Let your growth continue. Let your character remain strong. And let your kindness remain genuine, knowing that envy may follow your progress, but it never has the power to define your future. One of the greatest mistakes people make is believing that kindness is a transaction. They think that if they are kind enough, patient enough, generous enough, and understanding enough, everyone will eventually appreciate them. They expect kindness to function like a vending machine, put in good behavior and receive acceptance, respect, and loyalty in return. But life does not operate that way. True kindness is not a strategy for controlling people's reactions. It is a reflection of your character and your purpose. When your kindness depends on how others treat you, it becomes fragile. The moment someone disappoints you, betrays you, criticizes you, or rejects you, your kindness begins to disappear. Why? Because it was never rooted in purpose. It was rooted in expectation. You were being kind because you hoped for a certain response. The problem with expectations is that they place your emotional stability in the hands of other people. And people are often unpredictable. A person who understands purpose operates differently. They do not help others merely to be praised. They do not encourage people merely to receive compliments. They do not act with integrity because they expect applause. They do these things because they understand who they are and why they exist. Their actions flow from conviction rather than convenience. Purpose gives meaning to your behavior. It creates consistency in a world filled with inconsistency. People may misunderstand you, but purpose keeps you focused. People may criticize you, but purpose keeps you moving. People may question your motives, but purpose reminds you that not everyone needs to understand your assignment. This is why purpose is so powerful. It protects you from becoming emotionally dependent on approval. Many people spend their entire lives chasing validation. They adjust their personalities to fit the expectations of others. They hide their gifts to avoid making people uncomfortable. They silence their voices because they fear rejection. Over time, they lose themselves because they become more committed to being accepted than being authentic. Purpose liberates you from that trap. When you know why you are here, you stop asking everyone for permission to be yourself. You stop measuring your value by people's opinions. You stop shrinking your potential to make others feel secure. Think about it. If a teacher stops teaching because some students dislike discipline, education suffers. If a leader stops leading because some people criticize decisions, progress stops. If an inventor stops creating because others mock new ideas, innovation dies. In the same way, if you stop expressing kindness because some people reject it, you allow their negativity to dictate your character. Never give people that kind of power. The world is already filled with enough bitterness, anger, hostility, and division. What it desperately needs are individuals who remain committed to their values regardless of circumstances. Anyone can be kind when everything is going well. Anyone can smile when they are receiving praise. Anyone can be generous when appreciation is guaranteed. But true maturity is revealed when you continue to operate with integrity even after disappointment. This does not mean becoming naive. Purpose-driven kindness is not weakness. It does not mean allowing people to manipulate you, abuse you, or repeatedly violate your boundaries. In fact, people who understand their purpose often establish stronger boundaries than anyone else. They know that protecting their energy, time, and mission is necessary for fulfilling their calling. You can forgive someone and still limit their access to your life. You can love people and still refuse to participate in unhealthy relationships. You can remain kind while also being firm. Strength and kindness are not opposites. The strongest individuals are often the most compassionate because they are secure enough not to be controlled by resentment. Remember that your purpose is larger than people's opinions. Some people will celebrate your growth, while others will resent it. Some will support your journey, while others will criticize every step you take. If you allow every opinion to influence your direction, you will spend your life moving in circles. Stay focused on the mission. Your responsibility is not to convince everyone to like you. Your responsibility is to become the best version of yourself and use your gifts to make a positive impact. Whether others understand your intentions is beyond your control. What remains within your control is your commitment to your values. The moment you realize this, a tremendous freedom enters your life. You no longer wake up wondering who approves of you. You no longer lose sleep trying to please everyone. You no longer carry the burden of proving your worth. You understand that your value is not determined by applause or criticism. And when kindness is rooted in purpose rather than approval, it becomes unstoppable. It survives rejection. It survives misunderstanding. It survives betrayal. It survives opposition. Because it is no longer dependent on external rewards. It is connected to something deeper, a clear understanding of who you are, what you stand for, and why you have chosen to live the way you do. That kind of kindness cannot be defeated because it comes from purpose, and purpose is stronger than public opinion.